In this video, I want to talk about one of the greatest EQs of all time, and that is the Manley Massive Passive. Now, is it the greatest EQ ever made? Well, that's entirely up to you, and I want to help you make that decision with this video. And it will also depend on the application that you're using it. Different EQs tend to shine in different applications. However, for me, this is definitely up there as one of the best. And one of the reasons for that is because not only is it super versatile, just sounds great on so many different tracks and applications, it does something more than EQ. Sounds kind of weird to say, but that's what I want to demonstrate in this video. When you use the Massive Passive, not only is it helping you boost and cut certain frequencies, and it sounds really great in doing that, but it's also adding some depth and it's adding character to a particular sound that's really hard to describe. And that's the reason that I absolutely love it. Now, we've got a mix open. It's kind of like a modern pop rock song. And we've got the Massive Passive on the mix bus and also on the drum bus. And those are the two applications I'm going to show you today. Now, I've been lucky enough to use a real Massive Passive in several different studios, so I am fairly familiar with how these units sound. And today on this mix, I'm using the UAD plugin. I think Universal Audio absolutely nailed the sound of the unit in their plugin. It sounds incredible and indistinguishable. I'm pretty sure that no one could tell this apart from the real hardware. There is also an incredible plugin by Pulsar Audio as well that is equally as good. So if you went with either of those, you're not going to go far wrong. So let's take a listen to this mix. We'll start with the Massive Passive on, and every so often I'll toggle it off so you can hear what it's doing when it disappears. Then we'll talk about the settings and what we've got going on.
I'll erase the memories of the past. I just need you to see that every time that we speak, you make my heart skip a beat. You keep my fire burning bright. But every time that we try to turn these wrongs into rights, I'm feeling you slip away. All I have left is you, and I can't help but think it's true that you're trying to find someone new. 'Cause all I have left is you.
Okay, so to really appreciate what this is doing, you're probably going to need to be listening on studio monitors or decent quality headphones. But to me, that is not a subtle difference when you take it off to when you put it on. The mix sounds good, but when the Massive Passive is on, it just tends to enhance certain elements and add a sense of space and depth that's just not there when you take the plugin away. If we take a look at what we're actually doing here, we're boosting on all 4 frequency bands, and left and right are linked, so it's the exact same on both sides. So the first one is a boost at around 70 Hz, 68 is the frequency set on the Manley. The bandwidth is around halfway, and then we're boosting to around 10, 11 o'clock, it's about a third of the way. What that does is it just adds some really nice thump to the drums and some size. The next one is at around 120. This is quite a narrow bandwidth, and we're boosting just a little bit. That's adding some extra thump to the kick. Now the two higher frequencies, the first one is at 4.7K. We've got the bandwidth set quite wide, and we're boosting about halfway, so quite a lot. What this does is it brings out the crack of the snare. It gives the cymbals of the drums a really nice sort of sheen to them, and it also adds some presence to the vocals and things like the pianos, the strings, the pads, and it tends to bring those elements forward. And I think that's what's adding the space and that sort of 3D depth to the sound. The final one is then a high shelf at 8K. And again, we're boosting quite a lot here, so nearly halfway. Now, because this mix is quite modern and it's edging more towards pop than rock, we want it to sound airy, we want it to sound bright. So that might be too much on some other genres. If this was just kind of like a grungy or a harder rock song, we might be bringing that down a little bit. But because it is more pop than rock, I'm finding that this is just bringing out a really nice brightness and air to the sound. Now, that 4.7K boost and this 8K shelf on some EQs might sound really harsh. The cymbals might get washy. We might start running into sibilance issues with the vocals. but not with the Massive Passive. And that's one of the reasons that I love it so much. It's really, really forgiving that you can make such huge boosts and you can really push this thing without totally screwing up the sound. Let's take another listen to the next section. Again, I'll keep bypassing it so you can hear what it's doing. The main things that I notice when that is in is that the snare, the cymbals sound brighter, they're kind of popping out. The vocals sound more in your face and more airy. And the snare has more crack, and even the kick drum is kind of poking out and thumping a little bit more as well. So really happy with what that's doing on the mix bus. Now the other place we're using the Massive Passive is on the drum bus. So we're adding some lows around 47. Bandwidth is set around the middle, and we're boosting a decent amount here. What that's doing is it's adding some really nice sub kick, which I really, really enjoyed. Again, on certain songs, that might be too much. You might be wanting to turn that volume down a little bit. But on this, I really found it was adding some really nice subs to the kick in a really pleasing way. Now, the next one is a cut at just under 300 Hertz, 270. That's removing some mud from the drums. We've then got a boost at around 680. The bandwidth is quite wide, and we're adding a ton of volume here. This is adding some really nice thickness to the drums. And then the final thing is a cut at 1K. That's just getting rid of some of sort of like nasally boxiness that wasn't sounding amazing in the drums. It's quite a narrow cut as well, as you can see. So let's take a listen. We'll solo the drums. We'll start with the Massive Passive off. It's in bypass, and then I'll put it on and then toggle on and off so you can really hear what it's adding to the drums. So again, that is really not a subtle difference when that comes on. We're removing a lot of mud from the drums that can just crowd and cloud a mix, but we're getting a lot of crack from the snare, and the cymbals just sound really, really nice. They've got a really nice polish and sheen to them. Now, if you're a musician or in a band and you're releasing music, then I've got something that you're definitely going to want to try out. How many times have you poured your heart and soul into writing an incredible song, spent time, effort, and money getting it recorded, produced, and mixed to sound amazing, only to then feel really deflated when you release it and it gets very little traction and you have a real hard time getting people to just take notice? Well, if you've ever been in that situation, then I've got something that can help. It's a 28-day release roadmap. For many artists, marketing and promotion can be a total chore, and to be honest, sometimes a bit of an afterthought when you get to the release day and then you think about how you should be promoting it. Honestly, by that point, it's too late. You need to be building hype and building traction in the weeks leading up to your release, as well as the weeks after the release. And for many musicians, this is the part that they hate, because there's often a lot of guesswork involved, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't, why it works, why it doesn't. It can be an absolute nightmare. Well, my release roadmap solves all of these problems. This is a fully mapped out 4-week marketing plan that you can follow in the weeks leading up to your release and the weeks after it. I've used this for dozens of artists that I've produced and mixed for, and many of them have got incredible results. They've built the social media followings by thousands. Some of them have even gone on to get publishing deals. Many of them have gone to book on bigger shows, better shows in front of big audiences, even festivals. So if these are the results that you want when you release music, then definitely try out the 28-day release roadmap. And best of all, it's completely free, so you've got nothing to lose. The link is in the description below.